The Sakhalin-1 fields in the Russian Far East are estimated to contain 4.5 billion barrels of oil and 17 trillion cubic feet of gas. Sakhalin-1 is a valuable non-Middle East energy source for Japan, which depends on the Middle East for 90% of its crude oil imports. Until recently, approximately 270,000 barrels of oil were pumped out of the Sakhalin fields. Japan knows it depends disproportionately on Middle Eastern oil. That puts it in a tricky position. What if something were to go wrong with Middle Eastern crude supplies? What if they were to come to a halt? What if an unforeseen crisis would engulf the region, depriving Japan of the fuel it needs? Keeping all of this in mind, Japan has made a rather big compromise, and G7 won't be happy about it. Given the importance of Sakhalin-1 to Japan's energy security, the Japanese government has reportedly decided to remain involved in the Russia-led project. Japan's Trade Minister Yasutoshi Nishimura said earlier this week, and I quote, "The Sakhalin-1 is extremely important for Japan's energy security as it is a valuable source outside of the Middle East." Last month he had said, and I quote, "From the standpoint of diversifying Japan's crude oil import, that's a very important project." Russia has reorganized the two Sakhalin projects after the exit of American giant Exxon from the project. That has prompted Russia to set up a new company to take over the project under a presidential decree. The decree by Vladimir Putin has forced investors to decide whether they want to remain a part of the project or not. Both remaining major players, Japan and India, have apparently chosen to stay in the Sakhalin project. Russia offered Japan's Sodeco consortium a chance to retain its stake in the project, and according to Nikkei Asia, the government in Tokyo has given the green light for staying in the Russian project. The Japanese government has a 50% stake in Sodeco, or the Sakhalin Oil and Gas Development Consortium. G7 nations banned the purchase of Russian oil in May. Japan is a member of the G7 grouping of the world's strongest economies. However, its decision to continue in the Sakhalin project directly contravenes the G7 mandate to ban Russian crude imports. Japan can, in its defense, argue that it is a major stakeholder in the Sakhalin-1 project, which is why it cannot impose a ban on fuel coming out of the Sakhalin oil fields, as that would hurt its own interests. Japan's assertion that the Sakhalin is a major non-Middle Eastern source for oil and gas for it makes a lot of sense. In a way, the Sakhalin project is Japan's energy security guarantee. If anything goes wrong in the Gulf region that impedes oil supplies to Japan, the country can count on the Sakhalin project to a certain extent. This comes despite Japan taking a strikingly anti-Russia position in recent months and siding with the West to sanction Moscow. Do you think Japan has made a wise